Fanatec has yet another ready-to-race deal. This time, if you buy a wheel and pedals, the CSL DD is $99.95. But this video is about something else. It's about the reasons why it got to this point. Don't get me wrong, it's a tremendous deal, but if it weren't for the likes of Mozza and at a less degree Camus, I don't think we would get here. The CSL DD, when it came out, it was disruptive. Getting a direct drive wheel for $400, it was something unheard of. Just 2 years later, which is absolutely nothing, those same $400 get you a really good entry into an ecosystem with a direct drive, pedals, and the wheel, not only on Fanatec, but also Mozza. But we didn't get to this point because of the success of the CSL DD. Well, maybe you could say that the CSL DD was the victim of its own success, to the point that it's shown issues with Fanatec's supply chain that others could exploit. The CSL DD was launched in 2021, and since then, it has sold like hotcakes, or like the superior Portuguese version. This is a pastel de nata. It's not a Portuguese egg tart or Portuguese egg custard. This is a pastel de nata. So good. Very soon, just like pastéis de nata, it went out of stock. But unlike pastéis de nata, the stock wasn't replenished. But anyways, this has shown that the future for sim racing equipment are small direct drives. It also shown that whoever has stock will have a foothold in the sim racing market. And lastly, that Fanatec is slow to adapt. The first point is easier to understand. Smaller direct drives offer pretty much everything as larger ones, but they're cheaper, they're easier to use, they're smaller, so it's a more logical point for most drivers. Second point is where everything became more interesting. Fanatec not having stock of what's more appealing wheelbase, the most popular wheelbase, basically created a huge opportunity in the market. And it wasn't the likes of Trustmaster or Logitech or even a veteran in the space like Simicube that jumped at that opportunity. In reality, it was a creator of video camera gimbals, of all people. They released a big wheelbase, the R16 and R21 in 2021, and they have shown that they were able to create direct drive. So if they could jump into the opportunity of creating a smaller one because they have stock, well, they would capture the market. And they did it twice. They first released the R9 in the R5 bundle afterwards, so that meant they were targeting Fanatec and Fanatec's customers, and they were saying, well, we're not here to mess around. They smelled the lack of stock as a big opportunity. Basically, they put the foot in the door and said, we are here in the space. It didn't really matter for them that the software was lacking at the time when they were launching Mozza Pit House. It didn't matter for them that they have quality control issues. In my opinion, they still have pretty much everything that I received from Mozza as an issue, a big one way or the other. Because at the end of the day, software improves, firmware improves over time, and quality control issues can be resolved, mitigated, and if they have a decent enough, which I don't know, RMA process, you know, if you have a faulty unit, you can send it back, you receive a new one. What it matters is that they have stock, and the biggest player in the market, Fanatec, didn't have stock to give out. This is important to cement their position in the market, because if the biggest player in the market doesn't have stock, you know, someone that wants to buy a wheelbase, they will look at Fanatec and says, out of stock, out of stock, out of stock. And then somebody else presents a similar enough product. Well, I think they're going to go for the other one. In one side, you have a bunch of potential Fanatec buyers that are disgruntled because they can't get any sort of hardware for the price they want to for over a year. On the other side, there's a newcomer in the market offering something quite similar. Between two, you can kind of see that's going to be a shift in perception. And this is really important to cement not only Mozza, but Camus. As most of the factories and supply chains are in China, this supply chain and ship disruption created a lot of on-field advantage for Mozza because they're Chinese, and Chinese companies do get a lot of dibs in things from China. It wasn't really just Fanatec that suffered issues with the supply chain. Trustmaster and Logitech did too. There are issues they're trying to figure out and resolve, and they're being resolved as we speak. We now are seeing more and more stock being available in all the brands. That would speak to me that all of these companies, sim racing or otherwise, need to start to reduce the reliance from Asia and overseas and near shore or onshore all of these assembly lines and supply chains. But that's just me, and that's, you know, preview for another type of video outside of this sim racing channel. And then there's the case they aren't really releasing items that have been announced for over 2 years now. This adds frustration to the lack of stock. It's something that it's getting better. It's undeniable. There's been way more stock on the CSL DD now, and times between availability are getting smaller and smaller, so they are basically coming. It also shows that Fanatec needs to bring equipment faster to the market, or it kind of seems that it feels like they're sleeping at the top. When that happens, it's just a matter of time until they drop to the bottom. It has happened before to Trustmaster, for example. In my opinion, I think it's the case they need to develop faster because they can create, disruptive equipment. This is basically why I'm writing this script about. The CSL DD is truly disruptive. So, because the Fanatec CSL DD was victim of its own success in a certain way, and because the competition basically took that opportunity of not having stock for such a long time, the only way that Fanatec can respond now, because they can't put all the equipment out fast enough for new equipment that needs to come out, a QR2, a supposed V4, maybe a Club Sport base, definitely the QR2. Fanatec isn't being able to reply back to all of this and bring new equipment out as fast as it needed. So as the stock availability is getting way better now, the way they have to bite back at Mozza is lower the prices of the CSL DD quite aggressively, and this is a good thing. Thank goodness for competition. I really want to hear from you on this topic. Tell me in the comments below. Press like and subscribe as well. And a big thank you to all the channel members for helping the channel out. And if you want to see a competition or a comparison between the R9 and the CSL DD, check, it's the video. The video is on this side. Check that video.